Welcome to Powering Through Life on the Deepest at Care Network. I'm your host, Teresa Sims, and I'm a transformational life coach, an award-winning author, and a multiple #1 best-selling co-author. Each week on Powering Through Life, my guests and I will discuss a special topic that is close to their heart. Together we will explore the challenges they have faced in life and learn what strategies and tools they have used to power through their lives. So welcome to Powering Through Life.
Welcome to Powering Through Life, and I'm your host, Teresa Sims. And today I have an exceptional guest with me. She is a returning guest, and her name is Dawn Lloyd. And Dawn is an international best-selling co-author, results catalyst, and trauma passion business coach. She takes her clients through all three of these steps to create a business that they love. Now, all of the books that Dawn's writing is in serves the purpose of helping others. And she uses her writing to help people who are hurting in life. Now, Dawn didn't find her passion in life. It's kind of ironic because it actually found her, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, Dawn, welcome to Powering Through Life, and thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad we got to do this again. It's lovely when we have our conversations, and I so much appreciate the topic that we're going to be discussing today is turning trauma into laughter. That's a good one.
Yes.
I like that. Now, would you kind of like to give our listeners a background of where you came from and why this turning trauma into laughter is so important to you?
Well, because I myself have lived with violence 2/3 of my life as a child of domestic violence, and I married a weightlifter who was just like my dad. I was a classic cycle. And then what we don't see is I even attracted a female boss who was not physically abusive like it had been in the past, but emotionally abusive and very controlling. So all three personalities was narcissist, and I even drew the ones that I dated after the divorce to me. And what is so funny is a lot of people, when they see trauma to laughter, they really feel insulted. I don't undermine the pain that anybody goes through. I known guns, knives. I went through all of that. But what I didn't know is when you go through trauma, I do believe that it's not that you were selected to go through a hard time, but when you come out, then we're here to teach it. Because there's so many going through it that don't know how to get past it. And in my case, I wanted to help so many, and the aftermath is, it's a serious subject. So I didn't want to stay in the serious because living in trauma, that's all you live in, is the seriousness of what happened. And we could still take those lessons with us. And what had actually happened to me was that I was speaking for veterans over in another state, and I was just being me, and a lady came up afterwards and said, "You're so funny." And that just blew me away. It's like, really? So I asked some of my closest friends, "Do you think I'm funny?" And they felt dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that I didn't think I was funny. I always thought I was serious. And they said, "I can't believe that you don't think you are. Didn't you notice?" And it just blew me away. So the lesson I walked away with is we go through these traumas and we lose who we are. But the traumas, they bring us to a place who we are, but we're finding our personalities in there. And laughing just feels good. And now that I'm out of the violence, I'm helping others. It doesn't get any better than that. So to laugh, and one thing I always tell a lot of my friends, the funny part is I always say I'm going to find a hot young cowboy. And at my age, they go, really? Yeah, I'm not dead, But I like to see people laugh and enjoy, and me, laughing puts me in where things flow. And so that's what I want to help others. And at first, I had a hard time with that because some people really resent it, especially when they're in a negative space themselves. Mm-hmm. This woman is laughing, talking about violence. Well, you can find violence everywhere, but where's the laughter? Where's the real you? And that's what I want to help people find.
Right, and that's an incredible thing that you're doing, an incredible gift that you're giving to the world. And I know personally, like, we have similar backgrounds, and when you laugh, it releases a different chemical within the brain, and it causes sort of a healing, I guess. And you can't hold the negativity when you're laughing and creating a new situation for your body and your mind. So
that is so true.
Yeah.
And you relax your whole body. I mean, it causes sickness because when you're going through all that negativity and all that trauma, your body just tenses up. I had issues with my shoulders, my neck, my hands, and once I was starting to let go, and now fear, sometimes fear is overwhelming, but then there's times that it comes up, and now I've learned just to say thank you and let it go. Now, not every situation that I fear is like that. Sometimes I have to look to another coach, just like you.
Mm-hmm. You've
helped me come through some stuff that no one else has been able to. But I think that's because you're just so down to earth, and we have come through this, kind of the same backgrounds, so you understood that. So that helped me relax with you, where if it's someone who's never lived in a trauma, I'm really happy for them, but there's nothing they can teach me.
Well, that's true. I mean, I use my background and my beginning life as teaching tools to help my clients and to help those that I meet to get through and to change their thinking behind whatever it is that's gone on or gone wrong in their life. And, when you talk about that negative space or that negative energy that comes from these traumas and these events that we've had, they do stick within your body. And if, like you mentioned, your neck hurts, your shoulders hurt, everything, it does have a way of destroying your body. And if there's a way that we can get that negativity and that negative emotion out of our body, because I look at it like, for me, my example of it is holding that much negativity or those traumatic events within my body and my memory and keeping that event almost alive within me. I see it as almost like a black, toxic, tar-like substance that's poisonous.
Yes, I agree.
It slowly eats away at who I am, what I believe, what I want to do with my life and my body physically. So if we can turn it around, remove that negativity and that those traumatic events and the emotional attachment to those events from our body and replace it with something healthy and happy, like laughter, it's a win-win all the way around, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And one thing I have learned, for one, if a client works with me, I can guarantee them. I have studied, and when I got out of the violence, I studied the brain. I wanted to know why these negative thoughts were coming at me like a freight train. Mm-hmm. And that search, I kept searching, and I know a lot of people will say they'll tell you they have something that totally broke everything wide open. Mm-hmm. And I kept looking for that thing. But when I realized it isn't that you have to look for that one thing, but your search will release little by little. And then when you do hit the one that you really needed, it will go all at once. But people want to they think it's an overnight thing. And I have yet to meet anybody who's lived through any kind of trauma to release that in one night.
Yeah.
It's a search. So what I tell my clients too, don't stress yourself trying to find this one thing that's going to fix you. It's the search. And it will come to you. Like, I would read a book in the beginning, studying the brain. I would read a book, and there'd be something in there, and it's like, it was an aha moment that would lead me to another. And same way as when I found you. And I also teach them to listen to that divine voice, because that divine voice is how I met you. Mm-hmm. And it was as simple as you posted something, and it's like, you know what, I read it, and it's like, message her. And I did. And I've been glued ever since. It's like, yep, if I can't figure it out, I call Teresa. If and you know yourself, if it feels like everything is getting cluttered and I can't get clarity, mm-hmm. I like to talk to you, because when it's you, it is really hard. If you have something that's really hard to release, you actually need someone who can listen and tell you what they hear.
Exactly. And we did that not
someone
too long
who's
ago.
listening. Yes. And it was major for me, because I kept saying, you know, people are saying, how can you laugh? Violence is not funny. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to stay in that space. And I found that my personality, I like to be around people that laugh. I like to make people laugh. And that's why I said, tell me what you hear. And that was a major for me. And what people don't understand, I think also what every coach knows, every coach has another one above them to help them get them to the next level. And it's all a learning process.
Absolutely. I think we all can use someone in their corner that's going to help them understand things, help them to see, help them to be that external voice. Not like we have our own internal voice, and we know what that does to us a lot of the times, but having that other person who's not attached to the situation can bring so much clarity around your question.
Yes, and you know, I can listen to someone else and give them a feedback of what I hear, but like I said, when it comes to you, you actually need someone who knows what you're talking about and to listen. But you have to, when they tell you what they're hearing, you have to listen, because, you know, like you said, they're not attached to the outcome. So they can just play back what you said, what they're hearing, mm-hmm. if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it makes sense to me, because I do that all the time. But you need to be, and I think you were talking about the choice of going to look up information and looking at, you know, when you did about the brain, searching for reasons behind why that trauma affected you and various other aspects of it. And I think the choice that you made to go and research was the turning point for you.
Well, yes, it was.
Right?
Well, the major thing, because I had lived in it so long, majority of my life, and I was so programmed that I put that little bit of, could there really be something more out there than what I'm seeing? Could there really be something that could change my life? Right. And it hasn't stopped since then.
Yeah. So it's that independent questioning and that independent thought process that you had around, I need something better, and that was outside of the violence and outside of the trauma. So that actually probably shook you into a new scenario where you needed to do, and I'm saying you needed because you needed, it was a survival needed and a learning needed, right? You needed to find out.
Yes, to be honest, if I hadn't, I probably would have ended my life at that point.
Yeah, and I've been at that same spot in time too, where, you know, it's a turning point. And the choices that we make will put us on a whole different path. And all of us have the opportunity to make that choice. And for each one of us, the how we adjust or how we grow or how we move away and process the trauma or violence that we've lived through is different. And for you, you found laughter.
Yeah, and it is. The funny part is making people laugh. To be honest, doesn't totally have anything to do with my clients or the people I'm talking to.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to laugh and feel good, don't get me wrong, but it makes me feel so good and it makes me happy, and it releases something every time I laugh.
Oh, I believe
it really
that.
does.
I believe that. And I think that's why the old saying that laughter is the best medicine really comes into play, doesn't it?
Yes, I totally agree. The thing that, like I said, to this day, I'm, you know me, I'm very open and honest on how I feel. And the thing about it is how did I miss that people thought I was funny? And that was the biggest realization for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't see me as funny. I've always seen it as serious, but I can make people laugh. And I'm so blessed to have that gift, and it's like, wow. And so now I had to learn how to do it within speaking. I could talk to total strangers. I could do anything. I can make a total stranger laugh, but to actually put that in what I did every day, that's something that was totally different to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's releasing, and I'm happy. That's the big thing. I can honestly say I'm happy.
Well, you've come out the other side, which is so key to the transformation of who you were to who you are now, and where you will be in the future, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because, my old saying is the past does not define your present or your future, which really, I think, is really, for me, it's the most profound words I've ever spoken in my life. But it's also true, because if we allow the past to define our present or future, then we're going to stay stuck, and we're going to stay victimized by whoever it was that hurt us.
Yes, and not only that, like I said in the last podcast, I believe our story actually has nothing to do with us, but we're the only one that could live it and come out the other end and teach it. Like, there's no way I could live the life and the trauma that you did and be able to teach it. I probably would have fell apart. But on the flip side, you probably wouldn't have been able to live with what I did without falling apart.
Exactly.
So I think we're brought here for a reason. And no, it's not to be cruel, but this planet needs us to step up.
Absolutely.
And
so what are you doing about that, Dawn? I know you have a project in the works you'd like to share. So.
Oh, my gosh. You know me. I get it. When I get excited, I talk fast, so I hope your listeners understand. But, yes, it's called Angels That Walk the Planet.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I get chills every time I talk about it. But it's a twofold book, and this was on my heart for like 3 months, and I've never put a book together. This will be my first one.
Congratulations.
And I kept saying, thank you. I kept saying, I can't do this. And that voice would not leave me alone. I kid you not. It was keeping me up at night, everything. So I thought, okay, I'll make a phone call. So I made a phone call, and next thing you know, I made another one. And what happens is, what the book is actually about is, in religion, we're taught to look up in the sky at the big miracles. Mm-hmm. And we're looking for these angels with the silvery wings. Well, when I changed my thoughts, my words, my heart started changing. And when I opened up, the most amazing people showed up in every area in my life. I kid you not.
Wow.
Writers, nutritionists, coaches, even that's how I became a writer too. I was contacted. So, I mean, everything that just opened up, and it just amazed me, because when you're in violence, you're secluded. Mm-hmm. Well, now my heart was opening up, and these amazing people were showing up, and they didn't want anything from me. And it's like, oh my gosh. So all I had to do is think about what it is I want to do, and my whole passion, my whole life is I wanted to help people. So these people showed up, and this is how you showed up in my life. So then I started doing it, but I found that everyone that I talked to, and this book like I would talk to someone I do a phone interview with everybody because I don't want to see their picture. I can feel the vibration. And if it's about money, then I won't do it. But it's a twofold book so that the angel, when the author writes the story, the first two paragraphs, you're going to see their heart. So you're going to get to know this person, and so you're in love is a high vibration. Mm-hmm. So when you start to read the top, you're seeing their heart, and as you go down, you'll see what they went through to get where they are today. And instead of writing, like, say, like you went through trauma, so if you wrote trauma at the beginning, how your life went through that, you'd be the reader would be in a low vibration.
Right.
And as you went down, it would raise a little bit to where you are today. Well, I want to start with the heart. I want them to see the author's heart. And when they do, they're in a high vibration. So even when they go through reading the trauma that you went through, they're still in a higher vibration than doing it the other way around.
Right. So it's like writing the present and then
yes.
telling the story of the past afterwards, so that you see what the person has to give and what they're doing, and then explain why.
And the thing I found with these stories, majority of them, there was something in their childhood that brought them to what they're doing today. And that blew me away because I didn't see that one coming. But it made total sense, and the same thing happened to me. Well, before their story, like I said, it's a twofold. So that is the reader's reading, so they get to see their heart. We're not putting business links. We're not selling to them. The biography is in the back, or their bio, excuse me, is in the back. So they'll have the pictures. They can see what their business is, how to contact them, and that. But I don't want the reader to feel we're selling to them. We want them, the idea is to open your eyes that there is people changing lives. And most time people don't know. And they could say one word that'll totally change their life, and most time they don't know. And so I want them to see that. So, and then before their story, then the ones that I know I'll be writing, and if the authors that I don't know, they'll have somebody write, will say, your story's in there and you got it. Well, then right before your story, I write how I met you and how you changed my life. Oh. So it's a twofold. It's for the reader, and the reader's going to see that, hey, you know, the way she met her wasn't something that, so I didn't go out, hey, I'm going to find this type of person.
Right.
You just showed up.
So
and
it's
that's
like
generally
divine
how it works.
intervention, kind of putting people together that
exactly.
A common thing.
And if you're a coach, you own a business or anything like that, sometimes we have these doubts. And no matter who you are, you have this doubt. Am I on the right path? Am I doing what I'm brought here to do? Well, then you read how a person met you and how you changed their life, and it's like, yes, I'm doing exactly what I'm meant to do. So it's not only for the business person or whoever's writing whatever they're doing, but it's also for the reader to see that just be open to what's in front of you, and these people will show up. And here's the most interesting thing. When I first said about the book, people are saying, oh, I'm not an angel. And I know you had an issue with it.
I don't.
And so I coached them through that, but I even remember our conversation. And you said, I'm not an angel. I said, describe what an angel is. And you described it to me, and I go, there you go. So angels are brought here to change our lives, and it's just amazing. This isn't about money. This isn't about anything but being open to these people who are changing our lives, because it's like the signs. If you're not open to it, you're going to miss it. And when I ask for a sign in life, I ask for 3 because I'm going to miss the first 2.
Well, that's true, because we're looking through our brains or using our brains rather than using our hearts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when they're thinking, I need a miracle or I need an angel, they're looking up, but right in front of him, here's one that'll totally change your life. And it could be one word, one sentence. It could be something big. You know, it's not, hey, I'm going to come up and hand you $1,000 check.
Yeah.
But that person changed lives. And most of the time when we do change lives, you don't know. I changed someone's life totally and never had a clue and would have never believed it. And I was in a class, and after I got divorced, went to class, and 3 years later, I run into a young girl in that class, and she said, "Do you remember that speech you gave?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "You know, I figured if you were brave enough to stand in front of a bunch of strangers and say what you went through, then I was brave enough." She goes, "I was in a lethal relationship." 2 years later, I was invited to her wedding. She's been happily married ever since.
Oh my
But she literally told me it saved her life because she knew she was going to die.
Yeah.
But just reading that, and that's what these books are about. So we never know whose lives we impact.
And that's a very good description of the reasoning behind the angels that walk the planet, is what you did for that young woman. You know,
I had no clue.
Yeah, it's not that we're out there to say, hey, look at us, we're angels that walk the planet. No, it's we do it quietly. We do it behind the scenes. It's just a matter of helping another individual feel good about themselves and maybe to escape something that's really harmful. And because we have the backgrounds that we do, we're able to see the toxicity a little quicker, possibly than some other people would. And, you know, that just puts us in a different perspective, I think. And I think what you're doing is an incredible, incredible gift to this world. And I am so proud of you for what you're doing, Dawn. This book is
thank you.
Just amazing. And, you know, I did have a problem trying to write my chapter in the book. But, you know, given my background of having 3 near-death experiences, I believe I'm here for a reason. I didn't understand for many, many years what it was, but I believe I have a grip on it now. So, but it's ever flowing, so, you know, it's not mine to possess. So, you know, we'll see.
But you know what's neat about that, too, okay, you lived through 3, and I'm sure that you're out there to help millions. I just believe that's my heart, but if you were only here just to help me, I believe that divine intervention can happen like that, too.
Mm-hmm. I do.
That someone was saved just to help one person.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not for us to question it. You just do it. Because
yes,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So, but you know, and I'm sure there will be some laughter moments in your book as well, because, you know, it's what it's all about.
I don't know about this one. This one is, I don't know. But I will say this, we do have authors in Australia, Spain, India, Denmark. I know I'm forgetting some, Canada, the States.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for sure we have a man in there and working on more because angels come in all forms.
Absolutely.
But this book's taken on a life of its own. I mean, it's turned out to be bigger than me. I had an interview today with a promoter over in Europe that thinks it's a brilliant idea and wants to work with it, and that's just been amazing. I am working, and it depends on how everything gets. I am working on doing a show like you're doing, Powering Through Life, with angels that walk the planet, and interview these angels. And I would like at some point to interview readers to see what they think. And I was also had the thought put to me about a YouTube channel. So I do think this will be big, but I do want to make it clear, this book isn't about me. It is about whoever needs it out there. Mm-hmm. And every time I do have a conversation with someone who may be an author, I'm telling you what, I feel like I can fly by the time I hang up the phone with them. Mm-hmm. Because
the cheeks hurt from smiling so much?
No, it just, oh my gosh, I don't know even how to explain how good it feels. I feel like I'm so aligned with it that I feel like I'm flying high, and I'm so blessed to be given this. This had to come from something higher than me, because I don't have that kind of intelligence. I really don't. But this was given to me by my divine voice, and it would not leave me alone. So, but it's for people out there. But the funny part, just like when I meet people every day, I try to speak to a total stranger every day, ask them how their day is, or compliment their hair or their outfit, and I try to do that every day, and it does feel good, but it's like I never know that stranger, am I to learn from them or they to learn from me? And most times it's both ways. And these authors, it's like, oh my gosh, by the time I hang up with an author I'm interviewing, I feel like I can do anything.
There you go.
And it's not so by my mind, it's by my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's such a beautiful gift that you're giving, and you've been given. And I know it's just going to make such a difference for a lot of people. And, you know, if we can learn from this book and the authors that are in it, and you as well, that, you know, once we're past that spot in our life where we put the past and the trauma away, and we can create a life that we desire based on what we want, what we will accept, what we won't accept, but including joy and fun and happiness and laughter into our lives, that's where we will excel, I think.
Yes, and this book isn't just for coaches. I mean, like I said, there's writers, there's people that do graphics. There's been
there's a farmer in there, people. I know.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody. And I will say we are still accepting authors. So if anybody's interested, I ask them to contact you through the Powering Through Life show. Okay. And I ask that because I know your wonderful intuition, and I know that you, if somebody doesn't have the right intentions, I do know you'll pick that up real quick. Mm-hmm. And so I know that if they contact you and you say, hey, this person, you know, might be a good fit, then I know it's a good fit.
Oh, okay. So they can actually get in touch with me through email at teresa@teresasims.com. So then I will forward your email on to Dawn, and we will see if we can get you presented as an author in this amazing book, Angels That Walk the Planet. And do you have an idea of when the date of release will be, Dawn?
Well, I've set a date twice, but like I said, this book I'm aligned with, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. We have 17 authors so far, and I'm going to stop it at 30 or 31. Mm-hmm. But no, it's like I had a couple of people get aggravated. Well, you need to have a plan. I do have a plan, but my divine voice has got another plan. Mm-hmm. And if it says it's not ready, then it's not ready. Exactly. And so, and it's funny because I really can now, looking back, I see at first I was kind of confused because I thought maybe I really should set a date. But then all of a sudden it broke loose. It's just like breaking loose, you know. I was having I had 4 people who'd never been published before, gave them a chance to do it, and only 1 submitted. So because I wanted to give back to what I was given. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay. And then I said, I want this because this voice was telling me go global. So I said, okay, well, how would I contact people in other countries? And then I remembered I had a co-author of the book that was from India, and she's a lovely lady. And so I actually talked to her on the phone, and it's like, wow. And then recently, one I had in my mind, I had made up there was one author that I really wanted, and I have like 4 different coaches in there that have big followings, and that's part of the marketing, so that this book can get out there bigger. So I had that planned, and I was waiting for one, and I talked to her the other day, and she'd been really busy and hadn't been able to, and she said quite a while back she would, but she was swamped, and now she's going to do it. And the funny thing is, that is about the time that all of a sudden I was thinking in my head, I really want someone from Australia. And I had one lady that wasn't sure, she'd never written, and I said, okay, I'll just wait. All of a sudden, I was put in contact with this lady, didn't know where she was from, and she said, I'm in Australia. And it's like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for Australia.
Oh my goodness. So you're going to have the globe covered.
Yeah. So then I said, I'm looking to go in other countries because Angels just doesn't exist in the United States and Canada. They're all over the world.
True.
So next thing you know, I get in touch with a lady from Spain. So, and I tell them, this is what I'm doing. Well, what they did, they would tell the next one, and this really surprised me on me. Hey, I got a lady that's got a big passion, and she really wants to do this. And it's like, so what blew me away is that my passion really showed. And I don't know why it blew me away, but it just did. It was another part of my personality I'd never seen. And so then she says, okay, how about if I introduce you to 2 or 3 of my friends? So then we came up with Denmark, and I loved the one from Denmark because I tell everybody, when I get excited, I talk fast. So feel free to interrupt me. And I used to apologize for that. I won't apologize anymore for being excited. And I'm not going to talk slow because I'm excited. So she gets on, and she really wanted to get out there, and she was a lovely lady. And she said, yeah, people get aggravated at her because she talks so fast. I said, I'm going to love this woman because I talk fast too. And it's funny, I had no problem understanding her, but I do make it clear I only speak English. So we have Denmark, India, watch me forget, Spain, Australia, Canada, the States. I talked to someone in London March 13th, and I'm hoping to bring her on board. There was one in California. So I do have just a couple in the States, which surprises me. I'm more in touch with Canada than I am the United States.
Yeah, because you've got
Canada understands me.
You have, I think, about 3 from Canada. 4.
Yeah. Canada understands how I feel. They're like you. They understand and they get it. The States, not so much.
Well, and, you know what? That's what the present is. We're going to give it to the States. No, I'm teasing. But, you know, obviously there's a lot of people that need to read this. And, you know, they'll find a way to look within themselves, I think, after reading it, to find their happy and their joy. Yeah,
and it just blew me away. And it's like, oh, my gosh. But what I liked, the lady in Denmark, because, like, she totally understood me, and I totally and we both talk fast. That had to be a laughter to everybody if they heard our conversation. But I loved it, you know. So, but that's what I'm trying to do is go global. And this is, like I said, a promoter that's in Europe that does to millions. And there's just a few things that's going to have to be worked out first. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's just amazing. And I will say this because I've met a lot of people that's not happy in their jobs. I spent 13 years in a job that I hated because I had the house payment and all that. I am literally living on half of what I did, and I've never been happier.
A lot of
and I don't want for anything.
Yeah. Well, except a cowboy with a
well,
hat
yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can get him the hat because cowboys like to tell you what to do with the horses. So just give me a hot young cowboy, and if he's got the boots, the hat, and the belt buckle, and he tips his hat and says, ma'am, I'm done for, but I do have to get my saddle out of storage.
Well, thanks for bringing that point of laughter in, Dawn. You had me floored with that one the other day, too. I love that. So, yeah, you know what? I applaud the mission that you're on in life, and I applaud the journey that you're on, and I'm so glad that I'm allowed to participate and be along with you. And, you know, angels or anyone out there that wants to become an author in the book, please contact me, and I will get your information forwarded to Dawn. That's Teresa at teresasims.com, and we will make sure that this book gets filled up, and we will all find something in this book that will bring out joy, happiness, and laughter in our lives, I believe. Am I right, Dawn?
Yes, and I just want to add, I could not get where I am today without having you as a coach.
Oh, thank
you. No way about it. You are one coach. You see a lot of coaches out there that does this, you know, certain things. You've got such a wide area that, and to me, it's like you hold someone's hand. And that was important for me. Someone to hold my hand that understood what I had went through.
And that's the part that I like to portray, is that I truly do understand, because I've been there just like you have. I know how hard it is. I know how painful it is. But I also know what the other side is. So thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate you immensely.
And I also want to say, I know you and you know me, and we are two coaches that, we do study, but we'll never be one of those that are textbook.
No.
We only teach what we have lived through. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And we both have that ability to use the active listening skills and apply the human compassion component to it as well, because we all need that. And Dawn, thank you. Thank you
so
for
much.
Being such a great guest on Powering Through Life. And we will get this out as soon as possible. And I know you're going to be swamped with people wanting to be in your book and contact you to find out more about you and what you do as a coach. And yes, thank you, my dear.
Thank you. I will say this, if they really want to get out there, this is going to be huge, and this will get you out there.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it's like first-time author, 20-time author, doesn't matter. It's your story that matters, and the truth behind it and the compassion behind it. So thank you again, Dawn.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to Powering Through Life. We will talk to you again next time.
Well, Divas, that brings to a close another great, inspiring interview on Powering Through Life. Thank you to my incredible guests for sharing your story with us. Divas, if you would like to connect with my guests, just go to divasthatcare.com, click on my picture at the top, that's Teresa Sims, and there you can access all of my interviews. Don't be shy, reach out if you have any questions, or simply just leave us a comment. Also, you can contact me at my website, that's teresasims.com. Thank you for listening to Powering Through Life on the Divas That Care Network.